Hi, I'm Meg Ruffman. You know that garage sale lamp? A real bargain, but it doesn't work? Today, we'll rewire it and then replace some plugs too. Have you ever gone to a garage sale and you saw this really great lamp and you passed it by because it had like frayed cords or no cord at all? Well, I'm going to show you today how to rewire a lamp. And you probably have some lamps even at home that could stand to have new wires on them if you have a house like mine. So this is a lamp that I got at a garage sale, and I'm going to rewire it. Now, it's really easy. It takes about 2 minutes. This is going to be very exciting because it goes so fast. This is zip cord. It's made for small appliances and for lamps. And the reason you know it's zip cord, which is the right gauge for lamps, is that it's got ribbing on one side, vertical ribbing. And then on the other side, it's just the piece of wire is covered with insulation that has no marks in it at all. It's just slippery, shiny insulation. This is called zip cord. So you'll need a length of zip cord to reach from the lamp to the outlet, plus whatever the height of the lamp is. If you got a floor lamp, you're going to need about 12 feet of zip cord. Okay, now, first thing you do with your lamp is sit it in front of you on a steady surface, and there's a little thing, this is the socket, there's a little thing right there that says press on it. In almost every case it will say press. So I turn that side up and then I put my thumb on it and I press down, and that will separate the socket from the base of the lamp. It sometimes is really, really stiff and you just have to keep working at it. This one came out easily. So I'm just going to pull out the old socket, and this is really old cord, and I think at one time it might have had one piece of vertical ribbing on it, but it's barely discernible now. No problem. Okay, so now the sleeve of the socket slips up, and that reveals the screw terminals. There's one there, one there. So what we need to do is get the old cord off. So I'll get my screwdriver and put it on the slot head end. There. So I'm going to discard this piece. Now sometimes the screw terminals are different colors. One will be brass and one will be silver, but they're both the same color. Actually, I think this one's trying to be silver, but it's so old I can't really tell. Anyway, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to take the zip cord now, and I'm going to tie an underwriter's knot. This is the best. Underwriter's knots were invented by the Underwriters Lab, which is the safety certification company in the States for electrical. And so watch what I'm doing here. I'm taking my zip cord and I'm just going to slit the membrane that joins the two sides of wire for about 2.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to give myself a lot of room to play with. Zip cord's cheap. I'm going to rip a lot extra so that I can show you this knot really clearly. All right. First thing you're going to do is make a set of goggles. All right? To make the set of goggles, it's like that thing, you know, that old song. You take one arm and wrap it around and make a loop, laying it flat. Then you take the other arm and you make another loop. But rather than have both of the arms leaving the top, you know, like lying on top, put the second one on the bottom. This is the key to the underwriter's knot. All right, so you've got this set of goggles. Now take the arm that passes over on top, wrap it around behind, and bring it out. The back, you go in behind the eyeball, the goggle on the right, on my right. Okay, so it looks like this now. Now the one that came out from behind passes through the other eyeball through the front. Otherwise it wouldn't lock, right? Now I'm going to take both of those goggle arms and I'm going to pull. And what I have is a beautiful knot that is going to lie flat See how that knot changes the direction? Any other kind of knot that you make in this cord is going to be vertical and is just going to make a big lump in the bottom of the base of the lamp, and it's just going to stop the sleeve from being able to fit back in. Cool? I think so. Now, so the next step is to take either a wire stripping tool, which is really a great tool, or just a plain old pair of wire cutters. They're pliers that are good for just cutting wire. They're really great. Huh? Now, there's two ways to strip wire, my way and the right way. No, there's two ways to strip wire. You can either score the insulation like this with plain old wire cutters, but quite often you'll dig into the copper and end up with a frayed looking line. Let's see if I can get this. This one came out pretty well, so I'm just lucky this time. But let me show you how to use the wire strippers, because they make things really easy. So I've given myself about an inch. Some of those wires, though, some of the copper, I did put a ding in, and they might be too brittle and break later on. It's really easy to use a wire stripping tool. You find the hole that fits the wire, the gauge of wire that you're working with. I guess this is 14. Put it in the 14 slot, bite down, and then pull. And there, that's just a little simpler. It goes really quickly this way. All right, so the next thing I do is twist my copper wires in a clockwise direction. Wait a minute. Clockwise. I have trouble with that clockwise thing. All right, and then I'm going to take that socket and I'm going to feed the other end, where the plug is going to end up being, through the lamp. This is where you get to see the underwriter's knot sliding. This is how it's going to work. See? That's going to sit right down there. Now, one thing I should have probably thought about, but naturally in my impulsive way didn't, is that now I've got a little bit, in fact, way too much of this stuff. So, because I made those so much longer. So let me cut these off. So I'll strip this wire. Okay, here's a fall tip. This is the time of the year that you should be applying a water-repellent wood preservative to exterior bare wood around your home. Now, this also goes for pressure-treated wood, which, while it is resistant to fungus and bugs and other good stuff, it's not so great in the weather and it will break down. So, put this stuff on. It lasts a whole year. It goes on like water. It spreads really fast. You'll be so glad you did it. Okay, so I'm going to attach my two copper wires, and I'm going to put, you can still see that the ribbed side is this side and the smooth side is this side. So I'm going to take the ribbed side and I'm going to attach it to what appears to be the silverier of the two screw terminals. This is the brassy one, and then this one is a bit more silver. This is an old lamp from the 40s. They are making it more obvious today. Back in the 40s, things were more subtle. Okay, so the ribbed wire gets the whiter of the two terminals, and I wrap my wire around it in a clockwise direction so that as I'm screwing the terminal shut, it's actually winding the wire tighter and not just pushing it off. There, that's nice and tight. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on the brass side. I'm going to take my little copper wire and wind it around clockwise. The second one's always trickiest because the first one's already attached, so it's pulling a bit. There we go. And tightening it. Okay, now I'm going to close the sleeve, shut the sleeve down again, and there's my little underwriter's knot sitting so proudly on the bottom, and I'm just going to tuck the thing back into the cuff with a snap. Fits great, looks good. Now I'll put the bulb in. This is a funny lampshade. I think you have to put the lampshade on and then screw the bulb in from the top. See, what did that take? That took a few minutes. Now I got a cool new lamp. The only problem is I have no plug. I'm going to have to come back and show you how to do that. But in the meantime, since this is so easy, check around your house for lamps that look like they need either some attention at the socket end or maybe they need a new plug. If you've got the old kind of round plugs that are kind of flat and they have a cardboard insulator between the two prongs, these are a fire hazard. They're illegal and it's worth replacing them. So search around your house for those old fogies and replace them. Not your parents, the plugs. When you go to buy your plug, there are several different kinds. Obviously, for this kind of zip cord that we're using, we don't need a 3-prong plug. There's just 2 wires, not 3. So you have a couple of choices. There are the self-installing kind of plugs, which go together really quickly. I mean, we're talking less than 30 seconds. Or there's the kind that screw together, and they're maybe a minute. So either way, you can't make a mistake. So obviously pick a plug that matches the color that, of the zip cord that you have. I'm going to choose this attractive brown plug. And this is the really fun part. Check this out. You pinch the prongs, pull it apart, and then spread them. This is how the prongs should look before you're ready to feed the zip cord in. When you're threading the zip cord into this little receptacle here, make sure that you have the little W that is stamped into the top of the, it's only stamped in one side of this white core. Have that facing up, and then you'll have the ribbed wire on top so that you're going to keep the polarity of the switch correct. Also, this needs to go in a full 1/2 inch into the core. You need to get it in all the way. Now you close the 2 prongs and then bring the plug casing down, and there you have your plug. Okay, this is the other kind, okay? Let's just show you that kind too. So I'm going to take this one off. With this kind, first put the plug on. You got to learn these things the hard way. Then split the wire for about 1 inch. Then I'm going to strip each side with my special wire stripping pliers. Ooh, that cut a little too deeply. I think I got a little zealous on that one. Nope, it's okay. That's why these things are so good. And then this one. That first bite is the all-important part. If you don't get a nice chomp on it, then the insulation doesn't strip away so neatly. All right, so clockwise twist. And then, now, this one doesn't happen to have the silver and the brass screw like the other one did, like the socket did on the lamp. So no big deal. It doesn't really matter if you attach the ribbed side to one or the other. So I'm just going to wrap these around. Actually, I'm not even going to bother because you're getting so good at this kind of stuff. I don't have to drag you through the demonstration. So obviously I'm just going to put those guys on, screw them down, and then pull the head over, and it'll look like this. Of course, it's an unattractive white, so we don't even want it on our brown cord, okay? If your extension cords look like this, and every once in a while when you plug it in to start mowing the lawn or whatever, you think, gosh, you know, I hope that's safe. Oh well, let's just show you how to fix this, okay? All right, so there are 3 wires. I'm going to cut off this insulation so it looks a little bit clearer. So, black, white, and green. The green is the ground wire. That's what gives you a 3-prong plug instead of just the bipolar plain old 2-prong plug. All right, so this is what a 3-pronged plug looks like. Oh, say that fast 3 times. And what you need to do first is remove those 3 little silver screws that hold the insulator in place. The beauty of knowing how to do this is that every time you run over your lawnmower cord, you can just fix it this way. Or just tape it up like my dad does. All right, so the screws are loose and I can just pull that out. Now, I feed the frayed end of my extension cord through the little hole at the top, bring it all the way out, and I need to strip these, each of these 3 wires because they're going to be attached to the screw terminals. Now this time they make it really easy. Check this out. You guys, come over here. There's a green screw here, which gets the green wire. There's a brass screw, which I've been telling you all along always gets the black wire. And then over here is the silver screw, which gets the white wire. So this is going to be a piece of cake. Every time I say that, something goes desperately wrong. But hopefully it's not that kind of a day. So here I am. I'm going to strip each of this. Now this is 12 gauge wire. It's a bit thicker. For some reason the numbers get smaller as the wire gets thicker. I'll give myself about ½ an inch on the end of each of the 3 wires. Also, if you're running a lot of power tools outside or whatever, if you buy an extension cord that's 12 gauge instead of 14 gauge, it's a lot easier on the motors of your power tools. When you buy an extension cord, it's usually marked right in blue ink what gauge the wire is, or the cable is. And clockwise twists in all of the ends, the copper wire. And that you twist them just to compact the wires so that when you make your neat little loop, there aren't little threads spraying in every direction. All right, and I get my plug, and I'll start with green. I just need to back the screw out a little bit so that I can get a nice bit of room for my loop. And I'll use my fingers to make a loop, slide it on like that, and tighten it up. Okay, without making you watch me do all this, then I attach the white wire to the silver screw, the black wire to the brass screw. All right, now I have all the 3 wires attached to the terminals. I'm going to slide the housing back down over the works here. Now on 3-prong plugs, there's a funny little kind of, I don't know what you call that, a little bump, and there's a corresponding indent on the casing. So I need to match those up. It's like putting together some kind of a puzzle. So I slide them together, and then that'll just, there, pop together like that. And now all I have to do is reconnect the silver screws that I took out in the first place, and I have a brand new 3-prong plug without that pesky, nasty looking little collar of frayed insulation and scary bits. So that's that on a 3-prong plug. Now we're going to try plugging in the lamp to make sure that this plug came out efficiently. Okay. Oh, you know what? I have a real bug now. I want you to see this really at its best angle. So I'll move that pesky seam. All right. I'm hoping that the switch was just turned off and that this lamp is going to work. Yes, it does. Huh? The complete satisfaction you will experience in learning how to turn your own lamps. You can turn anything into a lamp, let's face it. Just like in the 70s we turned everything into planters, you can turn everything into a lamp now that you have this knowledge. Lighting adds so much to a festive party atmosphere, and you can experiment with different colored bulbs to match the mood of your guests. Now, if it's an outdoor party, move all the new lamps out onto the patio so no one fails to notice your handiwork. Now, here's another outdoor entertaining tip. Lure insects away from your lighting display and your admiring guests by placing open cans of beer around the perimeter of your yard. Stinging insects like wasps and yellow jackets will be attracted to the beer and not your guests. Now, your guests might be attracted to the beer too, in which case you should erect little hand-painted flyers that say, "Please don't drink the open beer. There are dead bugs in it." Now, if your guests are unruly and ignore the tasteful signs, rent a PA system and periodically announce,
"Attention, step away from the perimeter. You there, you've had 3 desserts already."
You'll enjoy your PA system and your guests will feel, well, like they're getting more attention. Until next time, on A Repair to Remember, I'm Mag Ruffman.
You there, the bushes are not a latrine.